we are back.
We're
Joseph,
back.
so we were talking. You were in high school carrying a bunch of mulch onto truck beds. And what else were we saying after that?
Yeah, man. So that's when it all began. I really didn't know what I wanted to do with life. I thought I wanted to be a news anchor, and I was studying I was studying mass comm, uh, and I flunked out of school, and I kept my steady job at Clegg's, the local nursery. And then eventually it's like, you know what? And while I was working there were some guys who did landscaping on the side. I'd work with them a little bit. And then people would come in from time to time and want something planted. And so I would pick up little side jobs from there. And eventually, uh, it wasn't really until I met my wife that I really was like, man, maybe I could do this. And then like just seeing her and her life of like having a goal at a young age of what she wanted to accomplish, and like her being kind of one of the first people to like really she's really impacted me in that way. And then I started pushing myself more to get more. And then that's when
Wow.
the business started growing. I went back to school, got a degree, blah blah blah. Here we are.
Holy shit, that's awesome, man. And when did you guys meet? When you were in high school?
No, I didn't. I actually met her doing landscaping. I met her at her house. uh
She was your client.
she was a client. That's right. And so she hired me and I just never left.
Wow, man, that is awesome right there. What a story.
What a
What a
story.
story.
Yeah, so she really inspired me and helped push me, and then I from there just continued to push myself, and then now just yeah, man. So really, working at the plant nursery is where I got introduced to plants for the first time, and just began being more passionate about like just driving around town and being able to identify plants was a cool thing, and then from there, just realizing that I could make money doing this.
That is awesome right there. And then I know that you guys also over at landscaping, you guys also do hardscaping, you guys also do patios, things like that. So how did you kind of phase into that? How did you get into that? Because of course, throwing down some mulch and mowing somebody's lawn is completely different than putting together a retaining wall or sorry, is it retaining wall or retainer? I sound like a fucking
Retaining walls. So man, we do some hardscaping, but we mostly our bread and butter is flower beds. They call
Mm,
them different things all over the country. Some people call them ornamental gardens. Some people call them foundational planting. But our the bulk of what we do is flower beds, and within flower beds we do landscape lighting, irrigation, drainage, and we lay sod, and all of that is really encompassed. And a lot of what we do too is just front yards where somebody just has they just want the whole front yard to look totally different. We rip everything out, we start over. And that's really what we're good at, what we're profitable at,
wow.
efficient at.
Really? And is it hard to be profitable with those kinds of jobs? Like, because I know, I hear it all the time from people that handle only like lawn care or just basic landscaping, that it's kind of not as profitable as hardscaping, right? But you said that that's your bread and butter. That's where you guys make most of your profit. So what do you guys do to be profitable with that model?
So what we do is I just confirm with my crew leaders, make sure that what I'm thinking, the estimated time is correct. And we charge what we need to make what we need to per hour. And then that way we never, I mean, I'm not going to say we're never not profitable, but for us, when we were trying to do hardscaping, the guys I had at the time, we weren't as efficient as we could have been. And in the future, when we have a hardscape job, we'll sub stuff out to people sometimes, but it's not what we're good at. What we're good at is putting plants in the ground, doing flower beds, and doing simple maintenance. That's where we make more money.
Wow, gotcha. So kind of like that ability to make more, to do more projects, right, in the same amount of time. Where if you're putting up like a some sort of patio or paver or outdoor kitchen, it might take you some days to do that. Where you could have done so many lawn care projects or flower beds, things like that.
Not even just that, it's just that we don't know how to do pavers like the guys I have. We're just not great at pavers. And so some of that is me
Yeah.
not having the right guys for that, and we could jump into some hardscaping projects in the future. But right now, with the guys we have, the team we have, the culture we have, are what we're good at and efficient at, what I'm good at quoting is is flower beds. We lay a lot of
Flower
sod.
beds.
We do a
Boom.
lot of flower beds, and with that, we almost always do low voltage LED landscape lighting, and we always have some form of irrigation as well, whether it's micro or high pressure. We're always doing one of those. And then every flower bed we do, we have to make sure where's the water going to go when it rains. So sometimes we'll reroute downspouts, or we'll put in catch basins as well.
Gotcha. Well, there you guys have it. I mean, Joseph just proved it right there, right? The flower bed model, the lawn care model does work. You don't always have to do hardscaping if you want to make money within the landscaping arena, right? And what would you say, Joseph? What's some advice that you would give? Let's say that there's somebody out there that they have a lawn care company, they're just mowing lawns for now. What advice would you give them to be able to start scaling up a little bit to get to kind of to where the point where you are eventually?
Yeah, I think everyone just needs to identify what their goals are. If you can clearly try to identify what you want out of your business, there's a lot of people that just cut grass and they're just happy just being a guy in the truck with a few other guys. Um, the only issue with that is if you're a solopreneur and you're the only person doing the work, or you're the only one that knows how to do the work, if something happens to you, then you don't have a business anymore. So that's the issue with that. To somebody that wanted to get into other projects, uh, sometimes it's just better to go work with somebody else and learn from other people. Sometimes it's just learning from trial and error and just figuring it out. But I'd say it's not. It just depends on what you want. And there's people who just cut grass and probably make actually not just revenue number, but actually keep more money than people who are doing major projects and do a high revenue number and they're not actually making any money. So it doesn't, I don't even think the service really matters. It's just knowing your numbers, knowing how much, and knowing your numbers, knowing how much it costs you to do what you're doing, and then just being really good at whatever it is. And then becoming, like, making a name for yourself at whatever you choose to do, just being really good at it, being really efficient at it, and promoting that service.
Wow. Yeah, and the way that you when I asked you the question originally when you said that's what we're good at, flower beds, that you said it with vigor, right? You said it with confidence, 100% certainty. So you guys definitely believe in that. And would you say for somebody that's doing lawn care, how would they start phasing in some of the things that you do, right? Such as the outdoor lighting, or maybe the something like putting in a French drain if they don't have one, or something like that. How would they start phasing into that? How would you recommend going about that?
It probably happens naturally. Like if they're cutting somebody's lawn, they're already going to that person's going to ask them if they can do those other things for them. That it probably will start by them putting mulch out. That client is logging us out every time I get a call, but yeah. So I think it happens naturally. The people are going to get questions about putting mulch out, pruning shrubs. There's a lot of content online that people can learn from as well. There's a lot of people on YouTube, on social media that have courses or have just helpful content that you can learn how to get into that. That would be the answer. To just organically, it's going to happen, and then just learn as much as you can and try to figure it out. And then maybe even reach out to people in your local market who are already doing it and ask them questions too.
Boom. That's beautiful right there. That is beautiful right there. And Joseph, for this podcast, I actually have a special quiz. I
Uh
have a special quiz for you. So you know what? Give me one quick second. Let me turn on my light because it is getting dark here. So give me 1 second, then I'm gonna go ahead and get into that pop quiz for you here and for
Perfect.
the audience.
Pop quiz. Here we go. I think you're muted,
No,
man.
that's good.
There you
And
go.
I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, and you'll be able to take a look at what I got for you here. Cool. So let me know when you can see my screen.
I can see it.
You can see it. All right. So, everyone, this is the real test right here. We're going to see if Joseph King, who calls himself the king of landscaping in Louisiana, is the king of landscaping. You ready, Joseph?
Let's do it.
Yes, sir. All right. So the first question: what plant is this, Joseph?
Oh man, drift roses.
Drip roses. Are you sure about that?
Oh yeah.
Yep, you're correct. You're correct. All right, moving on to the next one. Moving on to the next one, guys. Let's see if he gets this one.
Yeah, it's compactaholly.
Compact to Holly. Okay. Okay. Now the last one might be a little bit difficult for you here. What is this? Oh, I think I lost you there, Joseph. I can't hear you. I think the recording stopped a little bit there too.
Either that or Chinzan azalea. I
What was
can't
that?
tell if it's either it either looks like one mass of like vinca or it looks like one bush of Chinzan azalea. It's either one of those.
All right, you got to pick one, and then I'll let you know if you're right or wrong.
Well, I gotta zoom in. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a dwarf azalea. It looks like
You're right. Yeah, it's a dwarf azalea. That's exactly what it is. Yep. Shazam azalea. Boom. Guys, there we go. Joseph is the king of landscaping. He got
the
three out of three
landscape
correct.
king.
The landscape king stands.
I,
Holy
and man,
shit.
I would say too, man, for anybody that's in any sort of landscaping business, whether it's lawn care, flower beds, hardscape, whatever that is, just know what it is you're passionate about, know what it is you're good at, know what your team's good at, and know your numbers, know how long it takes you to execute, know what your just know how much it costs you to make money, and then from there. And I don't have it all figured out. I'm still figuring it out, man. I'm still we're still learning ways to be more profitable and to keep more of the money that we make. I'd say a trap that people get caught in is just they get caught in the top line number. And if you're just only worried about your total revenue and not how much money you're making yourself, then you're just going to keep chasing that. I would say find a sweet spot in the middle where you want to make a great top line revenue number, but you also need to make money yourself.
And what's way to go about that? Because I think when we first got on our first call, you mentioned that you hit a specific number the first year, then the second year you hit that same number, but you were more profitable. So what are some tips that you would give around that? How do you do that? How do you go about that?
Yeah, so it's just knowing how long it takes to do work. And if you have guys, ask your guys, include your crew leaders on those conversations of knowing how long projects are going to take, and then estimate properly. And then audit and go back on the jobs you've done and job costs and see how much money you actually made on those jobs instead of just looking because it if you just look at your bank account it's going to feel like you're making a lot of money when you may not really be making money. And I have no way perfected this. I'm still learning this myself and I'm still getting better at it every day. And just know that too, that it's progress over perfection. Like you're not going to be perfect. Just make progress and find little ways to make progress.
Boom. Awesome. That's some great advice there. And Joseph, one more thing. So earlier, before we started the recording, you mentioned that you recently added somebody to your team that's gonna be taking care of a lot of the admin tasks. How soon, if you were to go back and do it again, how soon would you hire somebody to do that same task for you?
Probably a lot sooner. uh,
Hmm.
I held on to that for a really long time. And there's different people on YouTube who say different things, but I think it's very helpful to have someone. If it's your spouse, that's great. Even if it's somebody part time or a virtual assistant, you need somebody helping you with those admin tasks and making sure that your job costing, making sure that the phone's getting answered, making sure that things are not falling through the cracks. It's very important. And if you can just answer the phone, you'll beat your competition. Because we're all so busy. Sometimes we get jobs just because we're the only one that showed up to the appointment. I'd say the one advice that I've gotten, somebody told me probably 10 years ago, is just do what you say you're going to do. you can actually do what you say you're going to do, you'll be better than majority of other contractors.
Do what you say you're gonna do. Wow. Who told you that?
A guy named Kevin Clement, a guy that had a landscape business, and then he moved on and he's got another business in a different state now. But he was one of the
Oh,
first guys I worked with.
shout out to Kevin, man. Shout out to Kevin. And Joseph, let's move on to the next part of this, right? I want to ask you a couple questions around your mindset, right? So I know that we talked about some mentors that we both have in the space, but who do you look up to, right? Not necessarily look up to, but who do you gain mentorship from, right? Who do you gain wisdom from? Who is that person for you? Who are those people?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I've listened to Grant Cardone. Of course, I've listened to, on the opposite end of the spectrum, someone like Mike Andes. Man, Mike Andes is very, very. He understands his business very well, and of course, like watching videos from people like Tigran on YouTube as well. Um, Kind of finding my sweet spot in between both of them. Other people like uh, I'd say I've read a book by Gino Wickman called Traction, and that book's been really helpful in like kind of organizing the structure of the business as well. And then I've just got some local mentors of people that have been in business that I've talked to as well. But I listen to a lot of different people. I've started listening to Andy Elliott too, and then
Andy is a G.
yeah, and then I mean I've kind of listened to everyone, uh, like everyone that you would probably list. I've listened to, but they all I gained something from each of them.
That's the beauty of it. Yeah, gain something from each of them, right? And there's some people that I don't really like their attitudes, or I don't like, some of the things they say, but I still listen to it because I can still pick up on it, right? I may not like the person, but the message is true no matter who's saying the message, right? So yeah, definitely. And yeah, what about as far as life overall, right? Because I know you're married, you've got the business. So aside from business, what are some of your values in life, right? Who do you want to be? Who do you what frame do you maintain for yourself? What values do you hold?
Yeah, one of the things is I want to be a genuine person, and one thing I've started doing, which I've learned from I think Andy Elliott says this is just to be where your feet are. And so if I'm at home with my wife and kids, I want to be there mentally. If I'm at work, I need to be there mentally. Wherever, just be where your feet are. Be, and be present in that moment. And that's kind of, I've also heard, maybe, maybe Jeff Bezos said this about work life balance. It's not really a balance, it's more of a circle. And like once things are taken care of in business, the better you are for your family. And the better you are for your family, the better you are for business. And it's constantly like it's never gonna be 50-50, and you're never gonna have like 50-50 work life balance, but it's just constantly just being aware of really just being where you are and being present in that moment. And I've got two small kids. I've got a 3-year old son and a 1 month or a 1-year old as well. Um, I mean, God is important to our family as well. Faith is really important to us, and then just being genuine and being a real person. You
Dude,
know,
I love it, man. And it's
being
funny
being
because
hardworking. Hardworking is one of our
that
values
too.
for sure, and then uh, being passionate. Obviously, being passionate about what you're doing is really important.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I definitely resonate with that. Having that, I just finished reading Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, right? He says that the angry man is not a man to look up to, right? It's a stoic man, the person that's calm, that's able to rationalize, and no matter what happens to him in the world, he understands that how he receives things is actually what it is, not the action that happened to him, but how he receives it.
Yeah,
And I love the fact that you said right there. I haven't heard that actually about Jeff Bezos or just that saying overall about life being a circle instead of like having work life balance. That if you're better for your business, you're better for your family, and if you're better for your family, you're better for the business. So I love that. That's very interesting right there.
yeah. I would say also another advice is just uh, we're always, as you're in business and as you're learning, you're always thinking someone else has the answer for you. But a lot of times you know what you need to do. You just need to do it. you know? And so I think sometimes it's a matter of sometimes you need to turn everything else off and just grind and just get it done. And
Dude,
a
yes.
lot of times we already have the answer, and sometimes it's just an excuse of trying to, even like paying for mentorship or paying to be in a course or something. You just got to grind, and you just got to make it happen as well. And you need to seek advice from others and guidance, but sometimes you just got to, you know what you need to do, you just need to do it.
Dude, yeah, I agree with that 1,000%. In fact, there's this. I showed you the painting already that I have, which is the $1,000,000 broken down into month, week, and days. If there's the one painting that I can buy, Alex Hermosillo said a
Yeah.
lot.
Oh, dude, Alex Hermosillo is a huge, probably my favorite person right now of who I listen to. I forgot. I don't know how I forgot about him, but
Yeah,
I've listened to his books as well. Yeah, he's someone who's just genuine. Like that's the kind of guy I
dude,
want to be.
100%.
Someone who like wants to help people, who's very successful, very well off, but just very genuine.
Very
He
genuine.
comes
Yeah, and
across
I
that
love
way,
the fact that, and he's a multimillionaire, right? He's
Yeah,
bound to be a billionaire, and he's the same person that he was when he first started. I fucking love seeing that. And he's an awkward guy, right? But he like embraces it. I mean, this
yeah.
motherfucker wears shorts everywhere he goes. He wears the
The
sandals,
tank
but
tops.
he fucking rocks it,
Yeah, he does.
dude. 100%, 100%. And there's one last quote that I want to mention here, and I know that we both have to split it off because you have some work to do. I have another podcast. Is this quote that Alex Hermosi was talking about on the podcast? He mentioned that there's no point in thinking about the work. There's no point in talking to somebody about the work. There's no point in journaling about doing the work. There's no point in acting like you're doing the work. There's no point in recording yourself and putting it on social media that you're doing the work. What matters is actually fucking doing the work. And that's the same thing that you mentioned, right? Because sometimes we do a whole bunch of shit like, oh, I'm going to write about it. I'm going to read about it. I'm going to talk to somebody about it. But you never fucking do it.
Right.
So what the fuck is going to happen if you don't do
Nothing.
it?
Have a whole bunch of excuses. Yeah,
Dude,
exactly.
100%, 1000%. And Joseph, man, if people want to get in contact with you, what is the best way for them to reach out to you, whether they want to be a client or whether they want to follow you on your Instagram or your social media? What's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, just Instagram, man. We're just Landscape King underscore Louisiana. That's it. And you find us on Facebook. We're on YouTube as well. Um, yeah, man. Reach out. Happy to
Oh,
help
let's
anybody.
go.
Yeah.
There you guys have it. And by the way, guys, fun fact, Joseph has one of my favorite intros. If you ever watch his Instagram, his intro is, "Hey, Joseph, a landscape king," and then he shows a flower or a plant. Dude, it's fucking epic. You guys have to check him out. Definitely go follow him right now.
That cheesiness. Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on, and absolutely anything I can do to help anybody.
Yes, sir. Awesome, guys. There you go. Give Joseph a follow. Give me a follow. And guys, keep grinding. Like we just talked about, there's no point in talking about doing the work. Get the fucking work done. You know what needs to be done. So fucking do it. Joseph, thank you so much for your time. Hope you have an amazing day. Hope you keep killing it. Let's go.
Make it happen, and let's plant some plants.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, man.